Hello, everybody, and welcome to Toffee Bluecast. We are live now, should be on X and on YouTube. We want you to massively interact with us. Toffee Bluecast brings Everton fans together, and we intend to do that tonight. It is weekly review. We're going to probably drop one every Friday if we can, because we normally do our pre-matches every Friday. So we will try and just do a weekly review of what's going on, how you're feeling, who you want in, who you want out. Hopefully it will be that everyone's out who you want out. And we're just going to massively just focus now on interacting with you in the comments and talking to Everton fans. Paul, how are you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm not bad. Yes. Last time we were live, there was a hell of a lot of noise coming from my downstairs in the house because we had people fitting a new floor. And they arrived at 5:30 to fit at midnight. They left midnight. Honest to God, absolutely knackered. But
all done now.
It's been an easier week. It's been an easier week, let's say. So it's good to be here on a Friday with a Copperberg and strawberry and lime, and here to chat football.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting stuck in. To be fair, just retweeting it on X to tell you that we're live there. You can't even watch it on X, but your comments from X will, if you're sitting there on X and you think, I can't be bothered to go over to YouTube, your comments will still come through to us. But if you do come over through to us onto the YouTube comments, we have a lot of regulars in the comments. You'll probably get to speak to more Evertonians throughout the show if you do come over in the comments. If you haven't hit that subscribe, please do so. We want to get to 10K before the season starts. That would be fantastic. That's our goal. We hope to do it. Let's hit 10K subscriber. What are we on now, Paul? About 6,000 something?
6,200 and something. So, not bad.
So we're on our way. We are on our way. So, we ain't gone too planned on this show tonight because we're just going to it's going to be like a radio station. We're going to interact with you and we're just going to go with the flow. Should we let's start with players out. Should we start with that, Paul? Because I've seen a few comments about Calvert-Lewin, and I've seen probably a few things in the comments about Michael Keane. Are they the only two players out?
Well, we seem to be waiting. We've offered contracts.
Garnegay signed
contracts to a few, but we offered contract to Seamus and Garnegay.
Those two have signed, haven't they?
Is that confirmed? They've signed.
Well, I think so. It says Everton are giving contracts to Coleman and Garnegay, but Bobble said that. So whether Everton have officially said that, I don't know. I don't know whether it'll be Everton officially coming out with that. I'm not sure because it's like extension, not a new signing.
Yeah.
Emma said, "Is it confirmed though?" So no, is it confirmed though? No, probably
no.
Not.
Well, Emma's asking about Dom, and there's a bit of a mix because it didn't sound very positive. I mean, he said obviously he had his interview that we spoke about last week. There was talk about him that he was leaving, and then there was a Instagram post by his missus who said that people were saying that was wrong, and then there's not been anything said since. So it's going to be interesting to see, but things might not be confirmed in the next few days. You know, it might take a little while. You know, the transfer window's closed temporarily, I think, isn't it? For the for a 2-week period, and then it opens again, and then maybe we find out more because maybe deals come in and stuff like that. But at the moment, not confirmed. So it's all it is a bit of speculation at the moment.
Well, something that I did hear, and a lot of stuff at the minute about is rumours, but we still go with rumours and we still say what we think on them. Is from what I've seen, Calvert-Lewin's partner has been massively, or wife, There's been massively engaging with Everton fans. I don't know whether that's through Calvert-Lewin telling her to, or whether it's just her, but she's been massively engaging to Everton fans. And Everton fans basically put out that Calvert-Lewin got offered a contract and he turned it down. Then Calvert-Lewin's partner or wife on Instagram has said, has he? No, he hasn't. That's a lie, basically. Is she saying it's a lie that Calvert-Lewin's been offered a contract? Or is she saying it's a lie that he's turned the contract down and that he's going to sign for Everton? That's where we're at the minute, people. That's where we're at. We're not sure what she is actually saying from that's a lie. Is she actually saying that he's not leaving? Or is she saying just that tweet or what someone said or what come out just isn't completely correct, but he is still leaving? That's where we're at with Calvert-Lewin. And I personally think it needs addressing, to be fair, because you need to know this to know who's going out striker-wise, to know whether Shemitah's going to go on loan, to know who you're going to bring in striker-wise, Paul, don't you? We need to address this situation with Calvert-Lewin, I think.
Ideally, you want to know who's going to stay and who's not going to stay, but the same as other jobs, the employee doesn't particularly have to say anything until a particular point, and maybe that point is when his contract is up on June 30th, and then we find out, like someone mentioned before, it'll be Danny was mentioning 1st of July before we know for sure, possibly. But Wormy's right as well. He doesn't really, he doesn't hold all the cards, as they say. Because obviously this year hasn't gone fantastically well. Injury for one reason and not scoring for another. So, it might well be July the 1st because of FFP, PRS, LBTQ, PTO, whatever it is, and then we'll eventually find out. But fair dues. Paul's is probably right as well. She probably just saw her ass, and replied or put something out there, and I can understand that because he's had a load of shite, isn't he? To be fair,
as
we say at the moment, he's still an Everton player, so.
My Mrs. Chloe, she'd probably reply, "Yeah, he does my head in too. He is an idiot." That's a promise.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from, but all we care about is Everton, and she cares about partner. Fair enough, and obviously sometimes things will overblow, and we just need to know where we're at with it, don't we? The Calvert-Lewin situation. See, what I am scared of, the big thing for me about the Calvert-Lewin situation is that. I want to keep better and don't. I want to keep better and would rather sell Calvert-Lewin. And me as an Everton fan now, I'm really scared that we're going to keep Calvert-Lewin and sign him on and sell Beto to Leeds. And I just think that's very dangerous. Like, I don't want to sell Beto to Leeds. And I've seen a lot of people say, yeah, sell Beto to Leeds 30 million, snap your hands off. But you won't be saying that Beto goes and scores 20 goals for Leeds. And Beto's always fit. For me personally, I want to bring a striker in now that's going to be real competition for Beto. I want to have Beto as backup because he's always available and he's a rough house. He'll do what you need to do when he comes on, and then probably maybe one more striker. Maybe one more striker as a luxury striker, whether that's Shemitah or bringing a new oldie striker in. I'm not sure, but. There's a lot up in the air, isn't there, Paul, on this striker situation at the minute with Calvert-Lewin?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people that we've spoken to would suggest that it's time for Dominic to find a new challenge, as they say, just because his return hasn't been great recently compared to sort of season, which is now his best season was 2020-21 under Ancelotti. It's going to be season 25-26, and he's not reached the heights of that, that season 5 years ago. So, maybe some people would say it's time for him to move on and find something else. There'd be a couple of people who'd say, well, who are you going to get in that's better than him? Well, we won't know really unless we get rid of a striker. You know, I mean, we had obviously Broyer's gone back to Chelsea, so that was a loan thing. So we have got a space. We got Beto and Calvert-Lewin and Schmiti, and then you would imagine there'd be one other, like you say. But then if that person comes in, we want them to be better than what we've got. So then those other three go down the pecking order, and it's about whether they're going to be happy with it. You know, Moyes has said lots of good things about Beto. He sees a little spark in Beto. I think he's alluded to the fact that Beto scored a few more goals this season than previous, and he's caused defenders a bit of a problem. So maybe he sees a little bit of an improvement in Beto. It'd be interesting to see if he's got to choose between one or the other to be third choice, who that would be. Because I don't think there'll be a massive clamour for either Beto or DCL. You know, I think it'd be more for.
I'd be gutted if Beto leaves. I'd be gutted. Like, I would be gutted if Beto leaves. You know, that's like even some people. It is 50-50 though, isn't it, Paul? Like some people want Beto to go because they're not a fan of him, and some people think that people are harsh on Beto when he scored 5 and 5 and was building confidence towards the end of last season, and give him a full season and see what he's got, and he could be the striker you need. Some people with Beto probably do think, you know what, he scores goals. He will score your goals. What more do you want from your striker? You're being too fussy. Is it because he's scoring goals, but other little things that he does is a bit dopey, so you don't let him off, but he's scoring goals? Like, as long as a striker scores goals, that's all that matters to me. He might like have a dopey touch sometimes, but if he can get a goal a game, 2 goals a game, I'm buzzing with Beto. I really am. The comments are flooding in. We do want you to go on, Paul.
Sorry. No, I was just going to say about DCL sort of having to put up with what we had for creating goals over the last few seasons, and then we've brought in 1 or 2 others, which means that Beto has played a little bit more often, say when DCL has been injured as well, and he's had 1 or 2 of those more creative players. So Alcaraz set him up a few times. Obviously, Ndai's been there. McNeil's been getting crosses in and stuff. So maybe Beto's had slightly better players around him than DCL's had previous. You've got to choose. You've got to choose between one or the other, it seems.
This is where we like the debate, people, because we've done the match reactions, Paul, where we've watched Beto play the same team, and because he works harder, he's got more out of nothing, more out of bad service, where he's just run the channels that Calvert-Lewin probably wouldn't run. And I believe if you've got a game where you do need to force chances, you need to force balls into the channel, Beto can get us more chances from nothing, where Calvert-Lewin, if you don't put it on a plate for him, he's not a workhorse like Beto to get you chances. Beto did make a lot of his own chances, didn't he, Paul? I think his service was okay, but it still wasn't that good. He just smashes
I'm not saying it was night and day. I don't say that DCL got nothing and Beto got everything. I don't mean that, but there have been better creators in the games or in the most of the games that Beto has played compared to DCL. But in the end, it looks as though if we get a new striker in, which we'll talk about in a minute, it looks as though it would be a choice between DCL and Beto to stay and be second choice, potentially, which means that whoever's going to be third will want to go because, well, like Peter says there, if DCL wants a contract for 140,000 a week, I'd be shocked if he got it. I think they would rather pay slightly less for someone new coming in.
Me and Paul always agree on everything, but we do have a debates and we stand our ground. We don't just try and have a show where we agree. We're probably not in agreement. I mean, let's have it out right now, people. Let's have it out because I can see it in the comments as well. Let us know now, right? Would you sell Beto for 25 million, or do you want to keep him? So if you would sell him, put Beto sell, and if you wouldn't sell him for 25 million, put Beto keep in the comments. So we're interacting with you here now, people. We want to hear what the Evertonians are going to say. So we want to hear Beto sell or Beto keep. Let us know for 25 million. If we got offered 25 million, because I believe it's 50-50, and I think what have we got? Yeah, put it in Beto sell or Beto keep if we got offered 25 million from him from Leeds, which I do believe we have got offered from Leeds. So I can see all the comments coming in. I like this. This is good. This is what you want to do. You want us to engage with you. And Paul will chuck them on the screen and say what you've said. It's probably the best way to do it, isn't it, Paul? To gather, like, we want to know what everyone's feeling, don't we? Like when
yeah, I mean, obviously there's limited things, limited news coming out of the club and things, and it is speculation. We get that, but this is your show, everyone watching. So yeah, throw it out there. Let us know what you think, and let you know where you think as well. Find one.
Leeds have basically come in 25 million for Beto. Are you Beto sell or are you still Beto keep? That even though you've been offered 25 million, your comments are all coming in. We're going to chuck them on the screen in a minute. It's going to be time up on that, and we'll just see roughly how you Evertonians are feeling in the comments. Do participate. Do you want to start off what they're saying then, Paul?
Yeah, well, so far everyone's sort of said keep Beto, but Beto is as Mark says, or he says, is a good option off the bench. I think he probably is a good option off the bench, but I'd still be disappointed if he was starting. To be honest, I just think that we've got an opportunity to bring someone who could excite us.
Starting, I wouldn't. If to say the strikers that we're going to talk about later on, if this Barry guy is a little bit raw, you might see Beto's like starting like he did.
And
well, I think the new guy getting into the groove. Do you know what I mean? Beto might start it, and the other guy might take a while to, especially if we sign a young striker. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think I've got a little comparison to put up in a few minutes, but you'll see that they seem to be quite different in their style, to be honest. So it's good to have a mix of both. I mean, Newcastle is probably a good example in the fact that you got Isak, someone who made a highlight video of Barry compared into Isak, that kind of player. And I suppose they've also had Callum Wilson as well, who's obviously a different type of player. And I think that's maybe what we would have with Beto and Barry. You know, it would certainly be a change between the two. Sorry, do you throw something on there?
I just put just comments coming in. What other centre forward do we have? Beto and DCL. Beto scores, DCL does not. There are loads flooding in. I mean, it's good that we cover this stuff because we want to know how you're feeling. Because this is what's bugging people, isn't it, Paul? This is what's in the air at the minute.
I mean, watch this. Beto keep. Beto keep. Wormy said sell. Peter keep. Danny's on the keep list. Peter keep. Shelley keep. Doyley. Paul said sell. Danny wouldn't sell him to Leeds for 30. Hi, Rod. Swap deal for Nonto, I'd be shocked.
I'm bold on to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. Sell him, but not to Leeds or any other league rivals. Well, maybe he would go back to Italy. That's a possibility. Beto's already improved under Moyes, says Pablo. I agree. Yeah, he's never going to have any finesse about him. So if that's the reason that you'd keep him, but would keep DCL over Beto, then you're never going to get the finesse that DCL would have. But DCL don't think would have the ruggedness and dogged determination that Beto has. So,
well, the Blues says here as well. Why would you sell Beto? He's the only senior striker at the club. I mean, when I did a live on TikTok yesterday on the Toffee Bluecast live on TikTok, Leeds fans were begging for him, Paul. They was begging for him. They really wanted him. It would hurt me if he goes, I think, because he loves us and I think he works hard and I think he'll score. Honestly, I think you've got to remember Sean Dyche massively knocked Beto's confidence, massively knocked his confidence. Sean Dyche spoke like Beto wasn't there. Beto was always last option, come on, as a sub. Never really got a start since he moved to Everton. David Moyes come in and had to pick Beto up off the ground after his confidence being shattered. Beto got scoring pretty quick for saying his confidence was low and started putting goals in, but you could still see that you could still see he needed to build the confidence even more, Paul. Like he misses some chances, but he was scoring. So I honestly, I put it out. How many goals do you think Beto would score on TikTok? And a lot of people were saying he'd score 15, 20 goals easy this season. How many goals do you think Beto would score, Paul, this season? Well, he did you last time, didn't he? He got you on the forfeit.
Only Joe. Yeah. Yeah, just about. He scraped over the frigging line, but yeah. Possibly the same again. I don't know, really. I think we'll be better. I think we'll be better next season than we were this season. Certainly the first half of the season. So yeah, he might well get double figures again. But I still think that we can do better. I liked Peter's comment about give Beto the service and he will flourish. Not quite feed the yak and he will score, but
it might be. It might. It might be. You never know. It might be. It's cracking that you're all commenting. Do stay involved. So we kind of stopped with. We didn't intentionally start with strikers, but we started with strikers because it's been Calvert-Lewin that's led to Beto, and a big conversation, to be fair, that's happened on it. So we might as well start with our strikers and work our way down wingers, centre mids, and defence, and talk about what we kind of need, which we did on the last show, but I feel it's getting a little bit more serious now. So let's talk of the strikers that are linked, Paul.
Yeah.
So the strikers that are linked are Voltemeda, Barry, the 22-year-old Villarreal guy, who apparently would
bear with me for a second. There you go. So there's your well done, by the way. There's your Voltemeda, who's been linked with Chelsea off one or two accounts today.
Has he? Oh, all right.
Yeah. I mean, it's only it's links, isn't it? This is your main guy.
It says we put a bid on him, Paul. Is that true?
Say again, sorry.
It says we're bidded on this guy 20, 22, 25 million or something like that.
Yeah, I've read about 4 different amounts, to be honest, ranging from 25 to 40 million. It might, no one. There's very few people with masses of credibility that have sort of said yes, Everton are following this up. It's a lot of in the know and all that sort of stuff. But as there's more and more smoke, there's probably a little bit of fire. So it's a possibility, I suppose. But we'll know a little bit. I am
starting to like this guy a little bit more. I did do a TikTok video with this guy, and it's amazing. But I can't put it on YouTube because YouTube are getting strict with everything at the minute.
Yeah.
With the video, I'll have to send it to you, Paul. It's so funny with Barry. It's class. I don't know whether
I've got a comparison. All right. So I'm just throwing up this comparison. Let me get Tieno off the screen there. So as a sort of go down, this is Tieno on the left, obviously, and DCL on the right. And what I've not done this season. I've not both players this season. I've done Tieno this season just gone, and DCL's best season, which was season 2021. Ancelotti scored a few goals. Okay, so it obviously just compares the two. Barry's slightly taller, but he is 6 years younger. There's the heat maps basically from their season. I mean, DCL was having to race around quite a lot, and Villarreal are obviously a fairly decent side, so maybe weren't pushed to defend as much. But you can see he's fairly localized down that centre. Bear with me. There we go. And that was the, SOFA score. So it's ever how much you put into theirs. So DCL's best season for us came out with a 7-10 over the season. This season just gone, Barry's coming out with nearly a 7. Minutes per game. Barry's been playing about, Barry's been playing about 66 minutes on average a game. Dominic was playing about 87. So a lot more minutes in the season than he had best. Appearances not too far away from each other. Dominic scored 16 in his best season with us, which is now 5 years ago. And Barry scored 11 goals this season in La Liga. So it might have been one or two others, but in the league, that's where it's been. With everything else, it's much of a muchness, to be fair. But it does give you a slight idea about what sort of player Barry is, just sort of compared, really. And it's just one or two little details, but sometimes those details make all the difference.
People do love the stats, to be fair. I did watch him. I watched Barry quite a bit because, eventually you start to think, if there's a lot of hype about him, I'm going to have a look. You fall for the trap.
Yeah.
You get on the YouTube videos and you get on the games and you watch some of his games. And I watched him and his hold-up play is really good. He is tall. He is good in the air. Really good in the air, actually. Puts himself about, passionate, young. I like him.
I also did a comparison with someone else we've been linked with. We've been linked with Evan Ferguson from Brighton, and then obviously gone off to West Ham. Not had the greatest of fun at West Ham. I went back, not last season, just gone the season before, to because obviously he had a great season for Brighton then, and compared that to Barry from this season. Ferguson's about the same age. Barry's slightly taller. Ferguson came out with about the same average score as Barry. Sort of look at the heat maps. Ferguson a lot deeper, really. Not as prolific. That might be down to Brighton's way of playing. Don't know. Make your own mind up on that. Ferguson in his decent spell with Brighton, sort of leading up to him going off, because lots of people were bidding for him and asking him to go and join them. He got 6 goals in the league. Barry got 11 goals this season for Villarreal. So, and again, everything else, much of a muchness, unless you're looking at big chances missed. So Barry actually had 15 big chances missed this season. I'd like to know exactly what a big chance is, but it does remind you a little bit of Beto in some ways, doesn't it? Ferguson just had about 4 big chances missed in the season before last. It's just little comparisons, to be honest. Barry seems to compete quite a lot, throwing lots of tackles. He certainly seemed to have done that more than Ferguson and DCL in his best season for us. So I would say there's positives. I'd say there's positives, to be fair.
I would have snapped your hands off at Ferguson before he went to West Ham, but now I'm a little bit like, I'm not as excited by him. I really ain't, because I just look at what he did when he went to West Ham on loan. If we would have come to us and done that, it was kind of a brochure, wasn't it? It wasn't that much of a success, I don't think. So, yeah, I'm a little bit scared of Ferguson. I'm not massively hyped about him. So we've got Voltemeda, we've got Barry, we've got Ferguson. Now we've got some of the outsiders that are coming in. We've got Antonio, 35 years old. What's your thoughts on that?
What happened to him with the car crash was horrendous, absolutely horrendous. I have seen his video where he's been going through his recovery and his rehab, and he looks strong again and looks as though he could easily play. You don't know properly, do you, until he actually starts playing. I loved him there's probably 2 great seasons for West Ham, where it caused everyone loads of problems, barging them out of the way, all sorts. But it'd be a free. It would be a free. So you could make that argument. Whether he would want to play for Moyes again is another thing. I don't know how their relationship was. It's something that could be avoided. It's not something I would run after, personally.
Yeah, I'm not. See, I put a tweet out earlier on. I was saying that it's so easy to build a good team for Everton now. We've got the platform to build a real good team, but it's so easy to mess it up as well. You bring in the wrong players and you give them contracts, it can set you back 2-3 years. We should know that from the past. And I think it's massive that every player that we do bring in, you really want them in and you're really happy that you've got them in. I think every bit of business that we do, it's got to be really good business, and you've got to make sure your contract's right for how long you've got them, and you've got to make sure the wages are right. I don't want to start bringing in, like, do you know where you can't get a player, so you get a crap player instead, but then you've got him and it takes ages to get rid of him, and then your football, you've got Deadwood, and we've seen it with Gabam, we've seen it with Delph, we've seen it with Gomez. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Have you start outline exactly what happened with Mopay?
Yeah, exactly. We've had it with loads of players, haven't we? Where we've just been waiting for players to go. I mean, there's been so many players that I know ain't been good enough, like Holgate. I couldn't wait for Holgate to go, but people were still saying he was good enough. Holgate gone finally. Godfrey wasn't good enough. I love him, nice person. People may fancy him, but wasn't good. You know what I mean? There's a lot of players that just needed to be gone. And finally, we've got a good handful of players to build around now. And I think the players that you put around this handful of players, Paul, have got to be the same standard, because we've got some really good players now. And I think we've just got to be careful.
No, go on. Sorry, go on.
I'm just going to say, we've just got to be careful, because I liked when we was talking about Voltameda. I liked when we was talking about Barry. Then we spoke about Ferguson, which scared me. Then we spoke about Antonio, which really scared me. And then now I'm going to chuck in. This one doesn't scare me as much, but I think it's still walking that wire at the tightrope at the minute, is James Vardy. That's one that's been mentioned as well, isn't it?
I've not seen many shouts for that.
Jamie.
I think people presume that he's going to go Wrexham, which wouldn't surprise me. And that'd be all right for Wrexham, right up their street, I think. But I find it interesting, like Louise is mentioning about Beto, Barry, and then an experienced forward. And Blues is also mentioning it as well. Keep Beto, sign another, maybe a wide forward who could play cover strike, like we had with Richarlison when DCL was injured. I would like to know who people think that other experienced striker should be, because if they're going to be on the bench most of the time, is that to be someone who would be happy with that?
What would you say?
You don't want to fall into that massive contract trap, do you? So it'd be interesting to see what people think about that.
I'm seeing a lot of people keep your comments coming in. It's amazing. We're trying to chuck them on the screen as much as we can. This is what we want. You saying what you think. I'm seeing a lot of people saying they don't want Antonio as soon as we've just mentioned it. People saying no to Antonio. It's alarm bells in the comments. What would you say to this? Beto, Barry, and Vardy as your strikers. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's something a little bit different, but it's just whether Vardy be okay with not playing all the time. But if you can get Vardy fit, it's a good weapon in it for certain games. So what would you think of that? Beto, Barry, and Vardy? Would you be happy
I think people. Well, I think the reason I think people would say no, in majority.
Really?
I would guess majority would say no, and the reason being is straight away they may be thinking
they do want Barry,
about personality rather than what maybe they're not what they can do. I don't think people like Wilson and Antonio, because he was like enough Richarlison. All right, I know that sticks in people's heads. And with Vardy, you see him as past it, because his pace was often one of the biggest things. You know, that's a very good point, Paul. Yeah, bring the whole Wagatha Christie saga into a sequel. Yeah.
So let me just take the Vardy thing out. Then I'll chuck Vardy in room 101 or whatever the room is. I'll chuck him in the bin, right? Vardy in the bin. So we're not saying no to, because a lot of people do want Barry, Paul. Have you seen that? Like, a lot of people really do want Barry.
Yeah.
So you're saying yes to Barry.
I think the highlight reels have been flowing quite frequently over the last 2 or 3 days, and I think it's whet people's appetite. And then obviously a little bit of information has been spread around that we're showing a bit of interest. So then we're on the Barry bandwagon, and that's okay. it's nice to be excited about stuff.
When I seen that, there's a lot of crap coming out now where it's not true. Believe it, a surprise. The news are putting out fake news. Surprise. The papers are putting out crap. But they were saying that Villa, old Villa striker, would be available on loan. I'd have him all day long. Forgot his name now. The old Villa striker. They had Watkins and they had another guy, and he went. Let us know in the comments. What's his name?
It's not Rodgers. It's the other one, isn't it? Duran.
Duran. That's it, Paul. You got it. Well done, Duran. Yeah, that's the one. I'd love him. You know,
named him twice. Yeah.
If Duran was available, I'd love a striker. Duran for me is exactly the kind of striker I'd like. You know, big, strong, got a rocket shot, bit like Lukaku, isn't he, Duran? If Duran was available on loan, I'd be all over that, but I don't think he will be.
Who scored that screamer against us? Was that him?
Duran, yeah. Duran scored loads of screamers, didn't he?
Cracking shot, to be fair.
Emma says, Duran really already? Well, that's what they've been putting on stuff, saying Duran might be available for loan to West Ham or something like that. So,
well, they're talking about Villa are talking about trying to get Sancho, aren't they? As well,
he's on that wage, 300k a week.
That's an interesting one because you just had Rashford on loan, didn't you? So is Rashford going back in to play for United, or are they going to make a proper bid for him? So there's a bit of maybe unrest in the striker department down the M6.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get Duran, people. By the way, I'm just mentioning his name because for me, that's the kind of striker I'd like. One that's a big character. Did you get it, Karate Kid?
Yeah, I missed it completely. I'll get it before the end of the show. I'll get it before the end of the show.
Cheer when you get it, mate. Eliana was screaming yesterday, Dad, Dad, Dad. I went and looked at Daddy Longlegs on the stairs. I was like, Eliana, Daddy Longlegs are cool. I mean, why are you scared of them?
Did you get Chloe to catch it instead?
I'm scared of spiders, but I'm not scared of Daddy Longlegs. The Daddy Longlegs are right, ain't they? They're not spiders. They don't look like spiders. Right. So we've kind of covered strikers, haven't we?
Yeah, I think so. We'll see what happens, eh?
We'll see what happens. We've spoke about it. We've all said our thing on strikers. A lot of you have said who you want. I think Barry's popular. Voltemada seems that Chelsea's is going to be Chelsea's probably 100th player signing. 100th signing.
Yeah. Oh no, I did get it.
Voltemada just seems
I got it.
There you go. I told you. I told you. I knew it. Right. So
you're right, mate.
So the striker, we spoke who's mentioned. You said who you don't want. People want Barry. People like Voltemada. People not. There's not many options, is there, when you think about it?
They're just ones that have been mentioned. You know, I like the ones that maybe come out of the blue. You know,
is the Rangers?
Alcaraz is a fine example.
Is the Rangers lad a striker or is he a winger? Because we're linked to two Rangers players. Is one of them a striker or one a winger?
I'm not 100%, to be fair. The lad that I read about today is supposed striker. Someone was bigging him up earlier on in the comments. Whoever that was, posted again for me.
I keep forgetting his name. It's a little bit of a
begins with an I, doesn't it? The lad that's sort of been mentioned today.
You know what I'm like with names. I keep forgetting his name. Tell us, Ignomani. Is it Ignomani?
Ignomani.
So he's a striker as well. So we might as well slip him in as well. Ignomani. Are you interested, people? Do you want him? Because he's a winger and a striker, I can put him in with the wingers.
Yeah, I can't remember the winger, but we mentioned last week, didn't we, about Scottish players. We had that kind of Scottish.
Well, it was last week. It was
SPL players.
Yeah, it was Diamande last week.
Yeah, well, you know, we've got a strong Scottish history, haven't we, of strikers who've done decent. If you think of Sharp and Dunk and Naismith and whoever else you can throw into the mix. Well, Andy Gray, I suppose, as well. But I don't know. I don't watch enough of Scottish Premier League to tell you for certain.
You know what's mad? I've just started the TikTok up and there's loads of Rangers fans that follow me on that. and they said he's going to be really good and he's going to step it up in the Premier League. This Hazard.
Yeah,
the Rangers fans, but you don't know. I know, but he's another one mentioned. People, by the way, so Hazard, Hamaza Igmani, we'll call him. So
Hamza Igmani. Hey, there's got to be a decent song for that.
Yeah, it'll be a good song. So we've got Barry. Yes, we're interested in. I think this guy people like Paul as well. That's why I've just put him in there as a striker. Igmani. Yeah. So I think Barry, Igmani is probably the only two that people are after, other than Voltameda. So there's 3 options maybe at the minute, unless some new come about. For saying it's the main position.
Well, Barry and Beto on another. So Lou says Ings. Well, he's available on a free. I think he was on that list, wasn't he, that we showed last week? Wormy says it as well. So interesting. I don't know whether I trust former Liverpool people, to be honest. We've had our fingers burned. It went well with Sheedy and then downhill, I think. Bit Beardsley, that was all right. Ablett, maybe.
Emma, you're
hey,
late.
Lou.
You know what I mean? Better late than never, Emma. You're here. That's all that matters. We're just talking. Well, we're saying that, Emma. We've only spoke about strikers, so you haven't really. And the strikers that we spoke about that we're probably interested, listening to the people in the comments, is Voltameda, who probably go to Chelsea. Barry, who looks like we might have actually put money down to get, and then this Rangers lad, Higmani, however you say his name. Him as well. So that's the striker situation. Emma, would I don't think he's good enough for us, do you, Paul?
Mbappe. No, I don't. No,
I don't know.
Doesn't sound very good, to be honest.
Peter says he's not good enough. Trust me, he said he's not good enough.
Fair dude. Lou's mentioned Igmani, a striker, but probably more a wide forward. But, forward players, I hope it's more a right forward. That's something, I know we're sort of linked with a load of strikers, but I wouldn't half mind a right winger, a decent, pacey right winger to get excited about. That would be good.
Comments coming in. So, when we do the weekly reviews, sometimes we're going to be speaking about the same players because it's going to be the same news each week. That's the problem. We're going to go live every Friday if we can, but sometimes we're going to have to talk about the same player again. And I feel this player that is heated up even more than the last time we spoke about him, Paul. Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
Actually,
I think it was it seemed to be after our show that it seemed to gather a little bit of pace. So I'm not saying it's because of us, but it's probably because of us, to be honest.
Can I just say, right? Me and Paul, and if you remember this, if you've been on Toffee Bluecast a long time, you remember this, right? Me and Paul, about I don't know, it might have been 2 years ago or something like that. We spotted a good player for Everton to get. Me and Paul did, right? Me and Paul spotted a good player for Everton to get that no one knew about. He wasn't proven good yet. He was on the rise, but hadn't been proven, right? So me and Paul got Leon agents on the chat. We got Leon agents on the chat. And me and Paul signed Shirky. We had all the papers ready, right? We knew Shirky was good. And no one knew about Shirky. He wasn't even good when me and Paul tried to get him to Everton, by the way. And we had the agents and everything in the comments, and they said we could sign him, and it was all done. Everton didn't listen to Toffee Bluecast and didn't get Shirky. Now look at how good Shirky is. So one thing I would say is listen to me and Paul. We've grown up playing football. We know our players, mate. And if you would have listened to us, we would have had Shirky. And a lot of Everton fans would have liked him because what a player he is, Paul, isn't he, that Man City have got?
Yeah. No, he's doing really well. But, we had Asmir on, didn't we, just over a year ago. And we made the pledge to get him signed up again with us.
Signed up again.
And it was less than a month later, and Yeah, limited. Limited.
It just said now that we've just got Manchester City's scouting person. Don't waste your time. You've got two people on top of Newcastle that will just pull your players in. Yeah. We'll turn Everton into prime Barcelona. Trust me, we will. We'll turn Everton back to the history. Don't worry about that.
Hey, to be honest with you, I'd get Asmir back again. I don't know why they've let him go. Give him another year, one year contract. You know, if
I think we're linked to the Argentine shot stopper or something like that. But at the end of the day, you'd be gutted if Pickford doesn't play. And I think we should have. Begovic was doing a lot of good stuff with the Everton kids as well, like with goalkeeping stuff and all that. And Begovic come with a lot of other stuff as well. I would have kept Begovic. I don't know what went on with it, but I just think we've created a problem that we didn't need by not keeping Begovic. And that's not just because we had him on the show, by the way. I don't know. I don't think he did. I don't think we probably would have. I think Everton probably have pushed him out. I don't know. I have to ask him.
Not sure. They might have offered him something. We've not spoken to him for a little bit. We'll have to have a chat with Russ, won't we? And see what he says.
We'll get him on again and find out, Begovic, what really happened behind closed doors. So Jack Grealish was talking about him. People started putting in the comments. I'd love him at Everton. I fell for it, Paul. I fell for the trap. I wanted him a little bit, but now I want him a lot. I'm thinking of it. And some Everton fans was moaning at me saying, "Oh, Jack Grealish is another left winger, and you've already got Iliman Ndiaye left wing. They're both footed, and they can both play any side, and they both can play the number 10 as well." So, no,
it's fair.
Yeah, I don't think that you could play Ndiaye on the right. You could play Jack Grealish on the left. You could play Jack Grealish on the right. You could play Ndiaye on the left. And Alcaraz, I don't like him on the wing, but he's shown worst case scenario he could play there. And McNeil, obviously, we've got a winger. So I would love Grealish. I just think he's going to smash it, Paul. Manchester City, Pep likes them to play his way. It's all programmed for the ball to go for everyone, to work the play to get a really easy opening for a good goal. Not when you watch Manchester City, you don't get one player where the weight's on one player. I think when Grealish leaves, the shackles will be off him, Paul. I think when Grealish leaves, he'll be able to do what he wants. He'll be able to be that main man. And we'd love him to be our main man with Ndiaye, wouldn't we? Do you want Grealish?
I'd have Grealish, yeah. I'd have Grealish. Money's no object, well, etc., etc.
Half wages, obviously.
I like it. I like his attitude, to be honest. He's a proper football fan. I think a lot of people are probably a little bit jealous of him. I feel a little bit sorry for him. I think the £100 million price tag
putting people off
far too much, but also I think he put so much pressure on his shoulders. And when you've got so many players, like so many good players like City have got, it's hard to keep consistency, really. And De Bruyne has gone to Napoli this week. So one or two people mentioning that maybe Jack would be Napoli bound, but I don't know. I don't know if I can see him in Italy, really. Don't know. Wherever he goes, wherever he does, I just hope he keeps his head screwed on. And I think he should go somewhere else and be a success elsewhere.
Imagine if we sign Grealish, we might actually be given a penalty. Yeah, I really would. I mean, the Blues, I love the Blues. In Blues, where did you go, by the way, towards the end of the season? We missed you. You put the both right-footed players, and that's made my point even more to people that are saying that Grealish can only play on the left and then Ndiaye can only play on the left. They're both right-footed players. Some people are saying Grealish isn't fast enough. He doesn't work hard enough. He doesn't work hard enough because he's always got the ball and the other player's running back, not him.
Doesn't need to. For City, he doesn't particularly need to. And I know Wormy's saying there about 1 goal, 1 assist in 20. I'd wonder how many of those 20 appearances were a start. And how many were off the bench.
Pep had gone off.
It's a little bit. It seems to be a little bit of a stretch too far financially, anyway. But I guess we'll see. He
said Grealish has never played on the right, though, mate. But I think do it the other way around then. Do it the other way around. I would just definitely have Grealish. I just think that you bring in that standard, you've got a chance of your team becoming that standard. I think he raises the bar straight away. Just you sign Jack Grealish straight away, I think people take Everton a lot more serious, because they've got Jack Grealish. They've got Jack Grealish, Everton have. They've got Jack Grealish. They've got Njai. It makes us a big team straight away, just by doing that. For me at the minute, Njai he's going to be class. He's going to be world class. Njai. I don't care who comes at me. He's going to be world class. People will be scared of Njai. You watched him for Senegal against England the other day. He's going to be class. If we could add someone else that's going to be class on the other side, like Jack Grealish, teams are going to struggle against us. I'd be really, really excited about having Njai and Jack Grealish because we're excited about Njai, Paul. Imagine having someone else that can get you off the seat like Jack Grealish.
Yeah, I'd like someone. I would like someone with sort of unadulterated pace. Do you know what I mean? First thing I think of when I think about Ndai is the ball control and the way that he can. He has about 2 or 3 touches, which just takes him in a circle, and he can get away from people. He's quite strong on the ball as well, not easily knocked off. There's a few examples about that for Senegal against England. I'd like someone on the right-hand side where as soon as he gets the ball, he's going to get away from anyone who's near him. And we haven't had that for the last really fast player that we had. Andy Johnson. Who's the, if you're thinking proper pace, I'd like to have that on the right-hand side and down on the left-hand side. You've got a bit of a mix. That would be class.
We got an old Wilcott, we got an old Lennon, and we got Dremphe. Dremphe that they said could catch a pigeon. He chases pigeons. Royston Dremphe, Wilcott and Delafeu. But I agree with you. It'd be nice to have a fast one. Would you say the Rangers lads are those fast wingers that you're talking about?
Not sure. That's in the Blues department, I think what he was doing at the end of the season was scouting. Perhaps he was scouting. Yeah,
maybe he was, to be fair. He's probably watching all the matches thinking, right, I've got to make sure I get business done now, the Blues. That's the one. He's might be the winger, Diamonde, that we're linked to quite a lot. Or the striker that we said can be on the wing as well. These 2 Rangers players are apparently quite fast. The Blues, are you interested in them?
We're very good. I think what's really exciting is that all of these players have got names that rhyme with other words that songs can be made from. So that is exciting in itself. Maybe that is part of the scouting system now.
Yeah.
Because we've had some players with names that haven't been very rhyme worthy and song worthy. So maybe we've changed our tack. Maybe that's going to make us successful.
Yeah, because we can link like Diamonde, or I know I'm probably saying his name wrong, Diamonde, but we can link him to like the Rihanna song, like "Shine Bright," like a Diamonde in the sky. You know what I mean? We can link it like a diamond, diamond, Diamonde in the sky. Yeah, you're beautiful, like a Diamonde in the sky. That's what I'm thinking. I get what you're thinking, Paul. We need to just relax up and just start thinking. Don't matter if they're good players. As long as we've got good celebrations and we can make good songs out of the names, that's all that matters, people. I get where you're coming from, Paul.
See,
I was taking it way too serious on this show. Yeah, I was taking it way too serious on this show, and I was really locked in as being my scout brain, and now you've made me realise we've got to calm down, people. It's all about songs. It's all about
maybe the City lad, maybe the guy that we've got from City who's maybe trying to do that. Possibly, you never know. He's got different ideas.
Because what you've got to think about is if it's easy to make a song for the player, we'll be singing the song and the player will play well. Laugh out loud. Paul's trying to get the duets going. From
Ryan Rooney will be watching this and he'll be thinking what rhymes with Diamande. What rhymes with Barry? Or is they Fierno? Fierno is going to be, that'd be a good word to throw in a song, Fierno.
We want football chants, Dan, not pop songs. I know I'm a proper pop king, ain't I? I can do football chants as well. All right. What's one of football to make of a song for that? Right.
Mondes forever.
The main player. This is a
Gary
player
Ramswood, Barry.
This is a player that I love, right? Let's think of a song for this. Gary Ramswood.
Brilliant. Love that.
That's what we need. Make up a song. Yeah, this is what has Paul done to this show. Love it.
Sorry, everybody. It's summer and it's been a long week. I'm exhausted.
I thought I was the crazy one. What am I rubbing off on this guy? So there's a player that I really Grealish, and this guy is a player I really want. That Habib Diarra. Is that his name? Diarra. Yeah. The one that played against England and smashed it. Centre midfielder. Can we get him?
Can we get him?
Yeah.
Well, we're in the queue.
Because there's a lot of teams when I look are interested in him.
He's it seems that he's well known, isn't it? I don't think the Senegal games harmed his chances. So, yeah. I mean, when we were speaking about him last week, he seems to. Someone was comparing him to a bit of a Tim Rubenham, wasn't he? That kind of player, possibly a understudy. Probably been working alongside Garner Gay, but someone who's determined in the midfield who can create an attack. So it's a possibility.
Well, I think Diarra is a beast. He is a beast. I've got him here. Oh, okay. He's really good. He smashed it up against England as well. I don't like Bellingham anyway, but he smashed Bellingham up. And he is good, honestly. And he can play with Garner Gay as well. Habib Diarra, I would love to sign him, but it would get me really excited because I think James Garner's not good enough at the minute. And I think you need someone, when James Garner's not on it, to just... I'd like James Garner to be a backup player, but I don't think he's Rose for me at the minute. And I'd love Habib Diarra to come in at the side of Garner Gay and be as good as Garner Gay. Imagine having two live wires like that. Just bombing it, covering the ground, energy, turning the ball over. And I think if you could get two sitting, like Habib Diarra and Garner Gay, that already know each other's game, that'd sort us out, in front of the defence. I'd be really happy with that. I think that'd be a cracking signing for me. I really want that to come out. But like they've just said in the comments, some moaning because of the AFCON. Well, when we've got the AFCON, me and Paul will play in their positions. You know what I mean? I'm 36, and I know you didn't want Vardy at his age, but don't worry. I mean, I could still play.
It'd be more like a Duncan Ferguson and a Tony Cottee up front there. Mate.
Don't worry about that, because when I play football, I'll make sure I'm always at front angle, so I look like I got a six-pack.
Tight shirts. That's it. That's what we. It's not what we need. Oh God, no,
I'll try my best. You know what I mean? But yeah,
lots of love for Diarra. I think the AFCON thing is you have to have a consideration for it, because if you do have a large number of players who would be going to AFCON in whenever it is, it can be a miss. And if you're thinking 25-man squad for your Premier League, you've got your first 11. You've got a reserve or a backup in each of those positions. So there's 22. And then maybe 3 younger lads who could develop into whatever position, potentially. Or maybe one other goalkeeper in there. Dan's got a one pack.
Mate,
don't encourage him.
You guys are flat as an ironing board. Dapper baby. I'm putting on a bit of them. I am joining a gym at the end of the month, and I will make you take that 1 pack back, mate. I tell you, because I'm going to have a 2 pack instead of a 1 pack.
You asked for that, Peter.
Yeah, to be fair, I do want him, Paul. I do want him a lot. I don't care about the AFCON. I get what you're saying. You've got to be careful, but I think when we have got the AFCON, I think you could. That's when James Garner gets his time to shine. And he steps forward. We've still got Irabunum. People forget about that. And we don't know what's happening with Armstrong as well. So I wouldn't I wouldn't jib on a really Everton getting a really good player just because of the AFCON, because you're going to have this good player for the rest of the seasons. A lot of players go to AFCON. I wouldn't turn your nose at Everton having a world-class player, because I think he is class, just because of AFCON. Like I say, that's the time that James Garner would come in. It's a time where Elcruz might have to drop back. It's a time where Armstrong might have to come in if you don't go out on loan.
There's a lot to be said for partnerships, though, in teams. This was an argument on Skype. They were talking about the potential World Cup starting 11 next season, and the two lads that were talking both had Branthwaite in, and one of their main arguments was his relationship with Pickford and that communication. And I think you saw that. If anyone did watch the England game, I apologise, I did watch it. And I think that was one of the things that ballsed England up, because of their lack of communication, familiarity. Christ,
that's a word.
With was it Henderson who was playing?
Yeah, it's shocking.
There wasn't any trust there. Whereas I think Branthwaite and Pickford as a two would be really good. And I think you do kind of get that a little bit with Garner Gay and Dye, and Diarra would be another one. You know, any sort of links that you can have. Pickford's fault, I know it. Gave him a 2 for his performance, I think. Yeah, there's a lot to be said for those partnerships and relationships in your starting 11, definitely.
I did see. Did you see at the end of that England game, Paul? They were going mad after the game. Apparently, Jordan Pickford, when Henderson went to make the save and it went through his legs, Jordan Pickford, they got on camera. Jordan Pickford was actually looking at him and putting him off, they said. But that was what's going around. It was Jordan Pickford's fault because he was facing the direction of Henderson, even though it was miles away. So
I know he's probably smiling or something.
Yeah, probably. He didn't look happy. He wasn't
walking like this, and he didn't like it. I think Lee Dixon slagged him off for some reason. I think he was doing it for 90 minutes. So.
You don't change something that don't work. There was even this guy from the Talk Sport crap that said, "You know what? Pickford had a clean sheet. I'm going to give him a 3." I was like, "You what? Pickford's got a clean sheet," and he goes, "I'm going to mark him a 3." Because he didn't have nothing to do, and I believe he could have distributed the ball a little bit better. That's probably why England only won 1-0. I was thinking, are you mad? That's just the agenda is unreal on Jordan Pickford. Like, I don't see nobody that gets a clean sheet should be given a 3 as a rating. That's just ridiculous. But that's what the line clickbaiters, ain't they?
Yeah, they are. But what I do like is the way that Pickford just proves them wrong all the time. I think
he does.
I think he's well. I was thinking about it, and people can come back at me. They might not on this channel, but I'd argue that Pickford is England's greatest ever goalkeeper now. Yeah, and it's not just on appearances. If you're thinking about tournaments, if you're thinking about key saves, penalty shootouts, all of that, I think he's better than Banks and Shilton.
People act like David Seaman was insane. David Seaman was a donkey. He wasn't even that good, you know. You used to get lobbed and everything, David Seaman. David Seaman was nowhere near as good as Pickford, you know. Nowhere near as good as Pickford. But just because he was tall and big, people act like Seaman was good. Seaman was nowhere near as good as Pickford. England haven't had a goalkeeper like Pickford for a very long time. Pickford's never let them down. Pickford has never let them down. And there's been a lot. No, and there's been a lot of pressure. In fact, some people say that England should have won a trophy with Pickford. Pickford in that penalty shootout saved 2 penalties to beat Italy in the penalty shootout, but England missed 3 penalties. How's that Pickford's fault? Pickford put it on a plate for England to win a trophy. Like, he made 2 saves against Italy, but yet the young kids bottled it. But Pickford probably get the blame for that as well. Pickford should have had a trophy because Pickford's insane. Anyway, we're going to try and blast through these now. So we spoke about Grealish. We spoke about Diab. We love him. In the comments, they love him, Paul. The only thing really that's probably highlighted to talk about now is probably just the right-back situation, isn't it? Would you say? Everything else is...
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, hopefully over the next few weeks, some right-sided midfielders, right wingers, maybe we'll get a little bit more talk about that. But that'll be in time. Right backs. Seamus seems to be staying. O'Brien has done great this season. May play centre back more. You don't know how Tarky's injury will sort of. He might miss a few at the start of the season, but at the moment you'd have to say probably Patterson is then our first choice right back if you're not having O'Brien. So we do have 3 players in that position. It's about whether you feel they're strong enough, and we're strong enough in that position. I'm not sure we are, but I don't think it's the number one priority. If you sort of put all the other positions to one side and you think about who you could have to strengthen that, Kufal has been mentioned a couple of times over the last few days, which you're always going to have because he's a free agent, I think, and obviously Moyes was there. So Moyes would know most about him than anyone else. It's a possibility. Experienced right back, not as old as Ashley Cole, would do a job if he came in. I'm not sure West Ham fans are massive fans of him, but he seemed to be all right anytime that we've played, and certainly not completely awful in every game by the sounds of it. So for a free, it's not a bad shout.
I completely agree with you. And I think a lot of us have settled that we'll probably get Kufal on a free, and that we might even get Walker Peters as well. I don't know. That could be what happens in the right back situation. O'Brien can play there, so I think O'Brien and Kufal would cut it. Our defence we're happy with, so I think Moyes will be more interested in attacking play, which he said in interviews. We're at the end of the show now, people. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been 1 hour and 7. We will go live every Friday to just talk about what you want to talk about. That's what we've done. I'm going to chuck it on you now, Paul. I want you to tell me straight away. In the comments, You answer this question as well. You've got to answer it pretty quick, yeah?
Okay, I'll try.
4 signings.
Yeah.
4 loans, 2 Premier League, 2 abroad, and you've got 2 free contracts. Who are you getting? So you've got 4 signings, 4 loans, and 2 free contracts, which is 10 players, which people think is a massive thing for us to get.
Right.
In the comments as well. Signing 4 players, loaning 4, 2 abroad, 2 Premier League, and then I want 2 free contracts. If we can get 2. If you've only got 1 free contract to make it 9 players, it's fine. Get your pens and paper, people. Get in the comments. Let us know. Right, this is where you get to be your. So 4 signings.
Bloody hell!
I know. Sorry. I just thought
our new scout doesn't have to put up with this shit.
Mate, we're serious people, right? So I've just signed Barry. He's my first one. He's the first one on my list.
Just to jump on this. I think question: who is only international keeper for Everton not to play a game? I think, and I know Blues will be typing viciously at this point if he's heard it. I think it's Pat Jennings. I don't know for certain.
It's Robinson English.
So go on, Peter, throw the answer in for us. I think it's Pat Jennings. I think Barry's worth the shout. And if it's not him, then someone in that ilk. If it's money aside, because people will get funny, oh, it's 40, it's 30, it's 24, whatever it is. Having just seen highlight reels, looking at the stats, he's young enough to be able to mould a little bit. I think he's probably got a bit of rawness about him still, being his age, but he is tall, which we seem to like. And he shows a bit of promise with his stats. So I think it's not the worst shout in the world for Barry to be brought in. The Grealish thing, I don't mind either way. I like
He'd be
him.
alone, wouldn't
So
he? He'd be alone.
I would say yes. Yeah, loan wouldn't be the worst thing.
You mentioned
And
Makate. What do you think of him?
Who? Sorry,
Makate from Man City as well. Was it Makate or something like that? The young kid midfielder, Makate or Makatai or something like that. He's been linked
yeah, McAtee, yeah. And you know what I mean? He seems all right, but I'd like to think Armstrong could come into his own, given the chances. It's different for playing in a City team. So I don't think he'll probably move anywhere, really. I think they'll probably keep him anyway. But I'd like to think Armstrong would get more of a shout. So maybe not McAtee for me. I'd give Grealish a loan year if money is no object, and we'll see what happens.
Do we have to sign a goalkeeper? Or can we put him on the free or get him on the loan? I've just put a goalkeeper in my free.
Yeah. Harry Tyre had a good season at Blackpool on loan. Supposedly, someone mentioned earlier on. I might have. Pause. It was mentioned. Blackpool have made an offer for him, but who's going to be your number 2 behind Pickford? Obviously, we want Pickford to play every game, but in the horrible event, hopefully it doesn't happen, that Pickford got injured for any reason, you've got to have a decent backup keeper. Someone you'd want with experience. So he's going to need someone else as well as Harry Tyre. Instead of just having Tyre, who's still a young goalkeeper, and another young goalkeeper, I would think. Help for their development. Anyway, so that's why I thought Asmir would be a good shout. But I did hear Fabianski mentioned a few times as a backup goalkeeper. That's obviously the West Ham link with Moyes again. But I would like them to get an experienced goalkeeper in as a backup for Jordan. And it's up to Harry Tyre then to push his way in if he stays. Beyond that, mate, I'm not too sure. I'm hoping more names come in.
Yeah, it's not easy. I've just tried to do it myself, and thanks to people that have done it in the comments, seen Carl get it in. I mean, I just tried to do it then. It was just something that I put out to do. But I went for Barry as a striker, sign.
Yeah.
It was between the 2 Rangers lads, whether you want Diamonde or the other lad, the more striker winger one. I don't know, but I think we'll sign one of the Rangers lads. I really do think Moyes likes one of those Rangers lads, and I think that it'll be about 13 million, 15 million. So I could see us doing that because one of them's a centre mid,
yeah,
and then the Diamondi one is more of a centre mid and winger, and then the other one's more of a striker and winger. So I could see us signing one of them. He's not my main one. So Barry, I've gone Diamondi. Diarra, definitely want him, as I mentioned to you. Walker Peters isn't a free, is he? We'd have to sign Walker Peters, wouldn't we? Would we have to sign
him? It seems it. I mean, Southampton players, I don't think we've had many. I remember Beattie, obviously, back in the day. Southampton players tend to go to Spurs. It must be a southern thing. So yeah, I would be surprised if we got Walker Peters, but you never know. I would like Patson just to step up, lad. Come on, he looked absolutely massive in the last picture I saw him in. His head was tiny, but his body was huge.
What I was trying to think of someone, Paul. Someone else was mentioned that we haven't met. Madueke. What do you think of him?
Well, the Chelsea lad.
Yeah, he's available. Loan. Could you get him on loan? That'd be a good loan, wouldn't it? Madueke.
Right hand side, yeah, of course, but
what?
I'm not blown away.
Do you don't like him that much? I think it'd be better if he made a move.
Maybe it's because I've not seen enough. I've seen more of him for friggin' England than I have for Chelsea recently. So maybe that's what's put me off.
I've completed it now. Now I've thought of Madueke. So I've got Barry, signed him. Diamonde, signed him. Diarra, signed him. Walker Peters, signed him. They're my 4 players signed. Barry will be about 25 million. Diamonde 15. Diarra will be a big one, I believe, probably 30, 40. And Walker Peters probably about 10 million. So they're my players signed. Loan would be Jack Grealish. My other loan, it was going to be Mekete, but I think 2 Man City players have cost us a bomb. Madueke, I've gone for, would be a good loan if there was going to loan him. I think we'll probably land on a good winger as a loan. These are the English loans. Free is Kufal. I think we will 100% get Kufal on a free. And then another free transfer is a goalkeeper. That's what I've done.
Yeah. I mean, similar names on there. Doyley's throwing a couple of other ones in. And Carl mentions the Liverpool / Middlesbrough lad, Ben Doak. So there's lots of names thrown around at the moment. And that's good. You know, it's nice that we're being linked. It's nice that we're being thought of and we're actually in the market. So there's always going to be a bit of interest. And especially if you've got new owners and a bit of money. I just hope that we choose wisely, as the knight in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade says. Choose wisely.
Kevin Moore-Prowse will come out. Yep. So what we've done, basically, we didn't have a major structure to tonight's show. We're just like a radio station, an Everton one, where we just go live and interact with you. I hope you've enjoyed it. You've all been chucking your comments in. Bournemouth, you are late, mate. You know what I mean? I know you only turned up at 84 minutes to beat us, mate, but don't be coming in that late ever again, otherwise you get detention. But I hope you're well, mate, to be fair. Looking forward to having you on next season. I think your team's getting absolutely raided. You must be scared. I noticed someone likes Clivert now as well. Your centre-back's gone. Clivert, someone wants him. You said you're not going to sell him. Transfer windows are scary, baby. Hey, I don't think it's as stressful for us, Paul, as some other teams at the minute, transfer window. Would you say that?
No, well, you would think with all the people out on out of contract, you'd think, Christ, we're not going to have any players left. But
I feel
we're still quite positive and confident. So maybe, hopefully, we keep improving and going up the table. That's what we want.
Yeah, I feel quite relaxed. But thanks everyone for being on. If you haven't hit that like and subscribe, please do so. I have been doing a couple of lives similar to this. Just go live for an hour every now and again on TikTok. I probably will get Paul on them with me. A couple of you that listening might have already come on with me. I've had a few of you on speaking to me. We just want to grow the Trophy Bluecast as much as we can and get ready for next season. Let's hit 10k subscribers. Yeah, we are being picked apart by the vultures. We don't have any players like
in the back. Well, that'd pay for your new stadium if you're going to get a new stadium.
100 mil in the bank, absolutely mad. I feel sorry for them though because they've got a really good team. It's just getting. I'd hate that. I hate that. Like I'm scared. I didn't want to lose Branthwaite, and that's one player. They're getting loads. Yeah, it must hurt.
That's key. That's key. I'll just say I'll miss Keane more than DCL. Thanks, Paul. Yeah. We scored a good goal the other week.
Cheers for coming on, Paul. It's cracking comments. Finish the show anyway. We are at the finish. We've gone for everything. Yeah, Emma, if you don't want to go on it, don't worry about it. It's only just a little sideshow thing to try and get more Evertonians in here. Stick to the YouTube's always our main thing. Don't worry about that. We're just trying to get more Evertonians in the comments for you all to chat to. We're bringing more Evertonians together. But we love you, Emma, anyway. Right, that is it. Great show, Peter Collins says. We're going to go. We'll see you all probably next Friday, unless we've got some plans. Have a boss one. Go and get a nice ice cream tomorrow and enjoy the sun, everyone. Up the toughest.
Going to play the music, Dan?
Yeah, I'm trying to, but I was thinking. Play this one.
We've been living in sin so long, all the fields are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller